Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Remember, you have greatness inside of you. Welcome back to another Habs Daily News with your hockey coach, Coach Frenchy. Today, episode number 138. Be ready, we have a lot of news to talk about, so let's dive in and talking about the first subject of the day. But before we start, you know the drill. Please click on the like, subscribe to the Hockey Listener Show, and leave me a comment about episode 138. And the first subject of the day is, it's a pretty good news. What are you talking about, Coach? The Montreal Canadiens announced they signed the goaltender extension contract of 2 years. Jake Allen at $3.85 million AAV per year, a total of 7.7 mile. Unbelievable, great news for the Montreal Canadiens just before the season start. Without Carey Price possible, never going to return in NHL. This is a great for the Montreal Canadiens and for the Habs fan to have Allen Shaker for at least 3 years with the Montreal Canadiens. And let's see his stats in NHL. First of all, Allen, guys, played 9 years in NHL. He played 7 years with the Blues, 2 with the Montreal Canadiens so far. He was drafted 34 overall pick in 2008 by the St. Louis Blues, won the Stanley Cup in 2019. Last season with the Montreal, 35 games, he had 9 W with 20 loss, 4 tie with 2 shutout, a save percentage of .905, and a goal against average of 3.30. During his career in NHL, he have 353 games with 168 W, 126 loss, 35 tie, and 23 shutout, and a save percentage of .911, and a goal against average of 2.60. So Jake Allen, guys, overall have a pretty good career in NHL. But for me, guys, it's all about the fact like Allen is going to bring some leadership inside this team. Allen is a veteran of 32 years old. And then the fact he's been in the NHL or almost like 10 years now, he can give some great leadership to the young defensemen. It brings that kind of communication between the goaltender and the defense. I think this is a great signature. Below $4 million. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago about the fact Montreal should sign him under $4 million, a 2-3 years contract, and this is happening today, guys. Contract to Jake Allen, 2 years at 3.85 AAV. Let's dive in now, guys, for the next subject of the day. And today, guys, I want to talk about the Habs development team. First of all, they have a press conference yesterday or today before that, talking about the Habs development team. Francis Bouillon, Rob Ramage, for the last 5 years, he was doing everything for the Montreal Canadiens under Marc Bergevin. When you talk about everything, following every player inside of this organization for where they play, talking to them, try to helping them. Since they can use Jeff Gorton, they're really focusing on the development of the Montreal Canadiens players. Look what they did. Not only Ramage Bouillon, but they add Adam Nicola. Adam is an amazing, great coach development for players. They add ex-NHL player Scott Pellerin. They add Nick Carrier. They add Marie-Philippe Poulin. Just give you an idea how they bring more people to helping the players to develop properly. Nicolas talked during his press conference, guys. I'm going to resume this in a few minutes so you can understand how Adam, he became one of the best coach development in the NHL. First of all, he talked about the neutral pathway. What he talked about, coach. So he was trying to explain, and hockey, he studied the fact like it was not about the drill or only the repetition, but how they can develop the brain of the players, how they can make them better to thinking and to react about different circumstances during the game. So he talked about thinking the same way. Practice, game. What you do at the practice should be the same thing. And to find a way to have that kind of chemistry and combination together. And he called this for him on his term is cognition. He wants to be sure they are on the same page. The player, the coach, they have that kind of cognition to helping the player to understand what Adam is talking about when he talk about neutral pathway, where it's a kind of term for the brain, react during or practice every morning about the fact they can apply this during the night. This, the player love it more and more. A lot of players buy it. Josh Anderson, Logan Mailloux, and Emil Henneman just talk about the fact like Adam Nicholson helped them during the summer to develop their skill during the hours they have with Adam Nicola. They was really impressed the way he teach to them. And Anderson was said, look, a lot of people talk about me like a north-south players, and Adam showed to me how I can become a better player on the ice from east to west with some drill he showed to me during the summer. So I'm really excited for the upcoming season. I don't want to go deep about the app development team, but I just want to show to you a little bit more what Nicola talked about the neutral pathway, and he called it overall a cognition for the player understand from their brain. The other thing he was said, he loved to make some drill the morning of the game where the player practice some different drill or different things during the practice could become an action could do during the game the evening. They try to replicate those kind of drill during the morning happen possibly during the game situation. So really deep how the way Adam Nicola talk about the development for different players, talk about the fact it's not everybody develop the same way at the same time, and that's understanding. And he tried to work more, like I said, not only by drill, but have a reason behind the drill. Why we do this? What the purpose behind the drill? And it was really refreshing to listening Adam Nicola. I just want to sharing and resume a little bit more what he talked about during the press conference. Let's move on now, guys, for the next subject of the day. So the next subject of the day, guys, I want to talk about is about Jeff Gorton. Jeff Gorton, during his interview, I think it was with Chris Nyland, Jeff Gorton talked about the breakdown Habs, what they need and the future. And he explained this really well, and he makes sense to me. First of all, he talked about the fact like the Habs need a top pair defenseman. If you look about the NHL, every player has some kind of the quarterback. Colorado, Ken McCarr. Rangers, Adam Fox. Washington Capitals, John Carlson. Pittsburgh, Chris Letang. Ottawa, Thomas Chabot. Vancouver, Quinn Hughes. Now he understands what I'm talking about. And he really want to find that kind of players he could add and the defenseman in the next couple of years. Something is really looking for. The second thing he was talking about is the goaltending situation. We just talked about Jake Adams just resigned an extension with the Montreal Canadiens. We know Carey Price maybe never returned with the Montreal, so he's thinking to find solid goaltender number one in NHL. This is another thing he's really looking for the Montreal Canadiens in the future. Finally, he's looking for skill and toughness. I don't say right now Albert Jack I represent exactly what he's talking about, but he wants to be sure a player he can bring in the Montreal Canadiens organization have a lot of skill, but with toughness. Toughness is not about fighting. Toughness is not about to hit people all the way. Toughness is to be sure you work hard on the forechecker, on the back checker, and you apply some battle 50-50, you win the battle. So that's kind of toughness I'm talking about. Three areas where Jeff Gorton looking for in the next couple of months to years to add a Montreal Canadien where he believes is really important for Montreal get those kind of players. And let's move on now, guys, for the next subject of the day. The next thing I want to talk about, guys, let's go around all the news about the Montreal Canadiens. First of all, Josh Anderson is back on the ice, should be played with the Montreal Canadiens game number 4, exhibition game, or game number 5. But he talked about the fact he was injured with a kind of by a spider or something happening with a spider or something like this. And he said his hand was so big, swollen, he cannot believe it. It was no clue what happening to him. Really bizarre injury to Josh Anderson. That's the reason why he was out for a minimum of 1 week. Now he's excited to come back on the ice, excited to play. And with the Montreal Canadiens, he felt great. He's recovery at 100%. But I just want to mention what was the situation with Josh Anderson about his injury. The next thing I want to talk about, guys, is maybe not many people talk about this, but the Montreal Canadiens hire as a scout position. The assistant coach, Whiteside from the Seattle Rough Riders. Whiteside has been with many years in the USHL with the Seattle Rough Riders. Is going now join the Montreal Canadiens on the scouting department for Jeff Gorton and Ken Hughes. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this. The Montreal Canadiens released 23 players, and most of them are going to be with the Laval Rocket. And we know the Rocket start the main camp October 2nd in Laval. So all those players going to report to the head coach, Jean-François Hull. Let's finishing this episode with one more subject. Let's finishing with the last subject of the day, guys. I want to talk about Kirby Dach. I just love his game, guys. He's only 21 years old. I just starting to appreciate and like his way he play for the Montreal Canadiens only with 2 exhibition games. I'm telling you why. The reason why, guys, he have a lot of skill set under his belt. He can reach with his long arm. He have a size over 6'4". His skating, guys, is really fast for his size. His touch of play against opponent players is really great overall. His transition is maybe was the best for him as a hockey player. When he touched the puck, guys, on the defensive zone, or he start to does a breakout, him between the 2 blue line, that's what is really great. So what he does, not only is fast, not only is signaling, not only is see other teammates around him, he process the information, what he see in front of him. This is really good. At a young age, he can do this. He recognizing the coverage, shame in front of him. So we're talking about, so he can see where he can go on the entry offensive zone. He can realize right away by what is happening in front of him, what he should do. Can he keep the puck? Can he protect the puck? He go to an area to bring a defenseman with him. And this guy at a young age, he can realize those kind of process information. This is excellent. Plus, he can carry on the puck between the 2 blue line. This is another plus for Kirby Dach. Finally, the kid is powerful. He can go in the corner. He can battle 50-50. He's still a guy 6'4". He's really competitive. You can watch him play. You're going to realize he compete all the time on the ice. I really like how he play. Everybody talk about his problem on the face-off. Game number 1, exhibition game, 44%. Game number 2, 60%. What he did the morning, he practiced with Adam Nicola, face-off against Christian Dvorak. Honestly, Dach have a great, bright future. I'm really looking for how he's going to develop. Many players, many people talk about the fact they really see Kirby Dach could become a Ren Kesslav. Whatever he reached, 80% of Kesslav, guys, I think this is going to be a great hockey player as a center for the Montreal Canadiens. And I just want to share a little bit more about Kirby Dach, maybe watching him when he play hockey with just those information I just mentioned to you. Maybe you're going to understand what really does Kirby Dach with the Montreal Canadiens. Can he become a second center, number 2, number 3? I don't know, but I think he have a lot of skill where he can helping the Montreal Canadiens in the future. And remember, guys, he's only 21 years old. He's still a prospect for the Montreal Canadiens. This guy complete another episode of the Habs Daily News. By the way, I apologize. I don't have the roster for the Montreal Canadiens for the game tonight. They play again the Senator and Ottawa at the Canadian Tire Rink at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to do another description, play-by-play, with the Hockey Nation live show. We invite you to join us for this description of the play-by-play live streaming. And finally, before we leave, we want to remind you, of course, you have greatness inside of you. Have an amazing, blessing day, everybody.